This week's Duncan Disorderly column looks at why National Party didn't take Tania Tapsell seriously and put her forward as Nationals candidate in the Tauranga by-election instead of Sam Uffindale. Now, Tania Tapsell was low down on National's 2020 list, and now she's running to be Rotorua's mayor. But you think that Nationals really lost an opportunity here?
I do. If they wanted to diversify and just look a little bit more interesting, they would have had a safe pair of hands in her. She's a safe pair of hands. She's smart. I don't know her, but I've watched her, and I know that she's regarded very highly in some business circles and amongst different people. But it's clearly not the party. At 64 on the list, you're telling that person that we're going to make it to government, but you'll just miss out, because you're unlikely to get in at 64, unless you have a massive landslide. They could have helicoptered her in. She's local, she's from the area, and I don't think it would have taken much convincing for her to stand there. And they could have gone for a solution that was someone local, but also someone that was capable and someone different to what was standing there. And they ended up with the four guys in the National Party shortlist were four white guys in blue suits. It's just... I don't think that the party is trying hard enough to diversify, and it should come naturally, and it always has done in the past for National. They've always had Māori wings and so forth, but it's much more narrow party now, which I think is a problem for the party. I think if we want to get a wide voting base, then you've got to present a wide voting party, a party that's attractive across the spectrum, and I just don't think they are.
Now, Tapsell, on the face of it, looks like the perfect candidate. So why do you think she was overlooked?
I don't even think she was even thought about. National didn't think outside the square. They went with a local solution, which was, put it in front of a committee that ended up letting down the leadership anyway. Sometimes things have to, especially with by-elections, which are even though it's local, it's of national interest. There's a spotlight that comes on the leader in these things, and some of these by-elections can be turned into a battle of the leadership. You see, so National needs to be very careful. And they got the wrong man. They got the wrong person. Whereas someone like Tania is proven. She's highly qualified. She'd be a good look for the party, and man, the party needs that kind of look as well, and just needs to represent and look like New Zealand.
National seems to have had a chain of promoting these very privileged white men to these positions.
Buffheads.
Yeah, and then things are going wrong with their appointments, things in their past. So what's going wrong internally?
And there's a whole host of them. I've named a few of them in this column, but not exhaustive by any means. I mean, there's I haven't mentioned Andrew Falloon. I mean, these guys are buffoons. Jamie Lee Ross, some of what they've been up to is truly schoolboy, boarding school immaturity, and it's pathetic, and it needs to go back to the responsibility of the outgoing party president, Peter Goodfellow, who oversees this in the Candidates College. Why do they get this stuff so wrong? And if one or two failures doesn't tell you something's wrong, well, how can they commit to 3 and 4 and 5? I mean, there's a whole you could create a sevens rugby team out of some of their failures. It's not only is a party that's not diversifying that well, it's a party that's getting it wrong as well. And it's pretty hard to argue. It's not the way they keep Chris Luxon out of the loop. If that's indeed the story. Why would you keep him out of the loop? It just seems too convenient. But I think he's handled it okay, actually. I don't think you could have asked for more really from him. But he's been left woefully stranded by his party and by some of the processes. Well, they need to review how they do this.
Now, they've got a new president in the form of Sylvia Wood. What does she need to do to review the party's processes and get this candidate selection going properly?
Read the Buggers the Riot Act. To say that this stuff matters. This is the stuff that people see on the front page. This is the stuff that people talk about. Whether this be something that's seen as beltway politics, as people don't really care. Or what's the big deal? People care when parties get the wrong people in, and again, it's sort of messy. National could be celebrating some good poll results. They've done quite well in the polls. They are somewhere there or thereabouts, and yet what's taken the attention away is a stupid story, and they only have themselves to blame. They could have dealt with this by not dealing with them at all. Or being more upfront in their approach. It just seems so cynical, the apology, and everything was done for his own advantage, when quite frankly New Zealanders get sick of this stuff. There's got to be better people out there.
Would a diversity policy help them at all? Not
a quota, because the National Party doesn't agree on quotas. They just need to attract the right people to the party. I mean, if National stands for, an exciting New Zealand that includes all people, genuinely, then you would think that Māori and Pacific Pacifica would approach the party and be involved. But the level of candidates now, my sources tell me, is just appalling. And so there's not much to choose from anyway. So you're going to get the odd Sam Uffindell. It just happens. If there's not who wants to go into politics? Who would do it for the money? So it's not. I don't think it's an attractive proposition for most people. And when they see what happens to Sam Uffindell, when the media just comes and there's a few leaks and bang, there's your past life on the front page again, relived 20 years later. Why would people do that? No thanks. It's the negatives outweigh the positives.
So if they don't have a formal diversity policy, they should at least be thinking about.
Of course
this,
they should have. Which is why you would have, as a National Party leader, got your whips and your party organisation at a board meeting one night to say, right, let's approach Tania Tapsell, helicopter her into the electorate. They'll accuse her of being a carpetbagger, being from the outside, but she can say she's from Bay of Plenty, and she's a great look for the party. And that way we can start to have some answers for the diversity in the other parties. It shouldn't be diversity for diversity's sake, but it should be diversity on merit, and she qualifies.
Duncan, thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.